It's Michael, and today I'm going to walk you through creating people, your users that have access to your account and can log in and work online within your Intervals account. Happens out here in the people section. You go people, create new person. I have some example information filled out here, but before I go into that, it's a three-step process. Basically, there's profile information, which is the information about the person. The login step, which that's where you determine the person's user level, their time zone, and then on the final step is where you select their project permissions. And why that's important is Intervals features project level permissions. And so administrators, they are not bound by project permissions. So they see all projects within your account. Managers, resources, and executives, they are limited to the projects that you have granted them access to. And the reason why this is done is it gives you tremendous flexibility to selectively pick which people can see and work on which projects. And we'll go into that more as we go on to the next step. So I'm creating Jean Reeve. Have his information here. Email, you can add multiple email addresses, multiple phone numbers, multiple addresses. There's a notes field. You can put whatever you like in here. When you're searching for people, either in the footer or in the people section, this field is searched as well. I selected a profile photo for him, and so we're going to move on to the login step. So here in the login step, you select the time zone. By default, the time zone for the account will be selected, but you can select the time zone for the particular person. And where this comes into play is when they're viewing tasks, making comments on tasks, that kind of thing, the timestamp and dates will be in their particular time zone. And we have a lot of international customers and people with distributed teams, so this is a pretty valuable feature. Usernames and passwords are private to each person, so you don't have to worry about setting the username and password. On the final step, when you save the person, they will receive an email that looks like this, and you can customize it as well, that walks them through setting up their username and password. So here in access levels, I mentioned the administrator. They have access to everything, but there are options here. You can determine to grant them access to plan info and settings and defaults. And so the plan info, this is the billing information, upgrading, downgrading, canceling your account. If you want an administrator but don't want them to be able to touch any of your plan info, you can do that here. Same thing with settings and defaults. This is your default work types, priorities, the name of your account, the account logo, that kind of thing. So you can unselect that as well. And so this type of administrator is basically somebody that can create projects, create people, run with everything, but they can't mess with your high-level account information, if that makes sense. Manager. Manager, there's an option to allow them not to view invoices. A manager sees almost everything that an administrator does, but they cannot create new projects, and they don't see any of the settings and info, plan info, that kind of thing. And there's also an option that you can restrict their ability so they don't see invoices on the projects where they're a member of the project team. Resource, these are typically your subcontractors or employees that don't see any financial information, but they're executing tasks. There's an option here to restrict task access. When this is selected, basically the resource only sees tasks where they're the owner and the assignee. The default way Intervals works, it's very open in terms of who can see tasks on projects. So managers and resources can see all of the tasks that are a part of a project, but with a resource there is this option to restrict them so that they only see their own tasks. If any of these user levels are confusing, which I imagine they will be if you're new to Intervals, we recommend creating example users for each of these and then log in as them to see what they see. It's really the best way to kind of see with your own data what people can see and interact with. And then executives, this is typically a client, and there's a lot of options here. So you can determine whether or not they can make comments on tasks and milestones, whether they view time, financials, invoices. So depending on the client slash executive user you're working with, you can tailor their account to see what information you want them to see. So then here on the final step, this is where you select which projects the person has access to. So this one, we're just going to give them access to the Pelago IT project. If they don't have access to any projects, they can't log in, but this is where you can control which projects they can work on. So if you do not want somebody to work on a project, you just remove them from that project and they don't even know it exists anymore. It doesn't show up anywhere within the Intervals interface. Now I'm saving the person, so this is when the welcome email will go out. If you ever need to edit the person, you can do it here. You can change their project access. Also, within the project section, you can edit the project access as well by navigating directly into the project. In the left-hand column, there's a project team link, so you can control who sees that project either in the project section or the people section. So here's a quick introduction to creating people. Hopefully it helps. If you have any questions, just feel free to contact us at support@myintervals.com. Thanks.